Hello, welcome to the Daily English News program in Azərbaycan Televiziya with the most important events of the day. I'm Gülər Qocaman. President İlham signed an executive order on additional measures to continue works on eliminating the results of natural disasters occurred in Ağsu in Şamaxı districts. According to the executive order, 3 million manats from the President's reserve fund was allocated to each of the executive powers of Ağsu and Şamaxı districts of Azerbaijan to repay the damage caused to the houses in Ağsu and Şamaxı districts as a result of the earthquakes. According to the instructions of President İlham, work is underway to provide cars to the invalids of Karabakh War and people equated to them, as well as persons who became disabled as a result of events of January 1990 and those who served in the elimination of the consequences of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant disaster. In 2020, it's planned to issue 400 cars, 150 of which have already been provided. Another 250 cars will be provided to these categories of citizens by the end of the year. The cars presented are of Hazar LX model of local manufacture. So far, 6,900 cars were presented to war veterans and other privileged persons. Measures taken to minimize shocks inflicted by the pandemic to the world economy will ensure a more sustainable transition of the Azerbaijan economy to the post-pandemic period. In that sense, the carried out investment policies as well as attraction of foreign investors will play a vital role.
Fluctuations created by the pandemic in the global economy are reflected in economic indicators of all countries. Under current conditions, economic recession is inevitable. With that, countries that adopt more flexible political decisions, implement mobile solution mechanisms, are predicted to quickly leave this scourge behind and enter the post-pandemic period with minimal losses. In that sense, the example of Azerbaijan can be seen as an advanced experience. Realization of programs for minimizing the socio-economic influences, as well as a base formed by the reforms implemented beforehand, created grounds for speedy rehabilitation of the country's economy. I am confident that as soon as the world economy begins to recover from the pandemic, the situation in this area will recover. I want to say once again that our situation can be considered satisfactory in comparison with other countries. As I said, despite the drought, our agriculture grew by 2.2%. By the end of the year, we will see what growth there is now. Industrial production in the non-oil sector increased by more than 11%. This is encouraging and shows that our industrialization policy is bearing fruit, said President İlham. Trends observed in foreign investment in our country during the pandemic gives reason to say that the carried out reforms, the created investment climate and infrastructure are yielding real results. In January to July this year, foreign companies and organizations invested about 2,900,000,000 monats in fixed assets, 2,535,700,000 monats, or 87.6% of the funds directed to fixed capital at the expense of foreign countries and international organizations are owned by foreign investors such as United Kingdom, USA, Turkey, Japan, Switzerland, Malaysia, Norway, Russia and Iran. The prevailing liberal economic climate, transparency and existing capacity for investment to pay off, namely its profitability, obviously are attracting foreign business. The interest of foreign investors in our country, first of all, means currency flow to our country, secondly, creation of new jobs, and third, import of new technologies to our country. Thus, the preservation of foreign investors' cooperation with our country, even during the pandemic, provides a solid basis to say that the economic chain and activity will be restored quicker during the post-pandemic period.
The statement regarding the strike of Ganja is yet another manifestation of Armenia's aggression and hatred towards Azerbaijan. The Azerbaijani Nagorno-Karabakh community made a statement. It says that targeting of such a city as Ganja, having ancient history and holding a special place in the world's cultural heritage, testifies to Armenia's dangerous policy directed against humanity. Quote, "This once again shows that Armenia has raised terror and vandalism to the level of state policy and continues to pursue the this line of attack. On the one hand, threatening civilians of Ganja by subjecting massacre against them, this country, on the other hand, builds underground shelters for protecting civilians living in our occupied territories. It shows that Armenia is not interested in peaceful resolution of the conflict and is looking for new opportunities and projects for new attacks against our country. We want a negotiated settlement of the conflict and support the coexistence of the Armenian community of Nagorno-Karabakh with the Azerbaijani community in peace within the territorial integrity of our country. End of quote. 139 cases of the novel coronavirus were recorded in Azerbaijan. 148 people recovered and were released home. The overall confirmed cases in Azerbaijan have reached 34,759, with 32,511 recoveries and 510 deaths. The number of active infections in 1,738. To detect new infection cases, 855,802 tests have been conducted in Azerbaijan so far. The task force under the Cabinet of Ministers reported. That was all for today. Thank you for being with us. Goodbye.